Hello, welcome back. This is that Millwall podcast. This is episode 11 of the 22-23 season. Joining me today is the football guru himself, the one and only, fresh from his new position with the Lionesses. It's the one and only Kai Bennett. How you doing, fella? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all good, Matt. I'm all good. How are you?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. I just realised my lighting's gone down a bit, so I'll just turn out a bit. There we go. You can see my good-looking face now. So, yeah, all good, mate. All good. You?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing well. It's disappointed about Saturday, but we'll move on. Quickly.
We'll get onto that in a minute. So, yeah. And also, we're joined by the one and only Mr. Zampa. Hello, Joe. You all right, fella?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. It feels as if I haven't been on this for a while. It seems like you boys have been doing it for a little while, and I've sort of not been on, but I'm back.
You've been doing your producing bit, haven't you, in the background?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Sorting out you lot, mate.
Bossing everyone around, yeah.
Doing it. Well, I don't boss people around. Shut up, Kai. Right, so yeah. Right, Millwall obviously took on Reading on Saturday, where we unfortunately lost the game 1-0. We're going to have a deep dive into that. We've got a partnership with a stat company, so we decided that we're going to use the stat company and look at some of the stats for the Reading game and see, where we fell down and where we stood up, really, to be fair. I think the stats will interest you to a degree because they certainly interested us. It's pretty obvious, really, where we are, but still, with the stats behind us, we'll definitely have a look. So we're going to be back right after this. Welcome back, then. So this season in the Championship, Millwall's form is poor. Overall, I suppose we've had 2 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses. The performances currently places Millwall at 17th out of 24, which ain't great, in the Championship table. We're winning probably 33% of our matches. Our home form is better with 2 wins, no draws, and 1 loss. And obviously, overall, we read out those numbers at the beginning. But let's dig deep into this, I suppose, before we do. Kai, reaction to Saturday before we start looking at these stat numbers, and then obviously we're going to you, Joe, first, and then we'll crack on with these numbers. So, Kai, your overall view for Saturday's game against Reading?
It was a frustrating afternoon, wasn't it? They come to the Den, they're full of confidence, 2 wins, but both home victories. The last one where they lost away was 4-0 away against Rotherham, and especially with Joe Lumley in goal, who made so many mistakes against Rotherham a couple of weeks ago. You really felt that if we had a few shots on goal, he'd probably struggle. I didn't think we tested him enough. I think we would have tested him a bit more. Get even just shooting from outside the box, making fumble, players running in, that sort of game. I think we probably would have done a bit better. Obviously, we did have a goal with the ball in the back of the net, obviously given disallowed. It is offside, so I've got no complaints about that. The referee officiating wasn't great again, was it? But we can't keep blaming that. So
what we say on this show is the referee was shit.
Yeah, he was bad. I mean, the problem is you can't always blame the referee. I thought that there was no decisions where the referee got so wrong that would have maybe meant we scored. For example, like if that the offside goal would have been onside, that would have been a major talking point. But as it was offside, there were just some silly little fouls that he gave against us that weren't fouls. Some fouls that he didn't give towards us, and somehow Reading are top of the table. I mean, no one would have guessed that at the start of the season. I don't think
they hadn't scored in their last 4 games, did they?
No, I don't think they're that great, are they? Really? I mean, we probably made them look better than they actually are.
No, totally. So, Joe, your overall for Saturday?
A bit like Kai, really. I mean, a bit disappointed in our performance. That being said, it was against a very, very, very negative Reading side. In some ways, they're probably even more boring than what Millwall were last season. You can see what they wanted to do. They wanted to get behind the ball, make it difficult for us to score, and then nick a set piece, a score from a set piece or a free kick corner. That's what they did. Had they had better finishing, they probably would have won 3-0. I think Hendricks was guilty of a chance clean through. Okay, Bart made a good save, but to be fair, the shot was hit straight at Bart. And I think it was Shane Long, I think, towards the end had a chance when he went through and went wide of the post. So the scoreline could have been a lot worse for us. We could have been easily lost that 3-0. And that would have been absolutely terrible. So very, very negative side. You just knew that if they went 1-0 up, that's it. We weren't going to score. There's no way we're going to break down a side that wants to sort of defend for 90 minutes. And that's the worst thing that could happen, unfortunately, and it did,
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, look, we've all had the stats today. It's the stat company we use is a company called Comparisinator. That's right, isn't it, Kai? I've pronounced it right, haven't I? Yep.
Oh yeah.
You'll find the links for them in the website. They provide a lot of football clubs with all the stats for their players. And we've got a partnership with them where they allow us to use their site where we can produce stats. So over the next day or so, if you check out the website, all the stats what we're talking about will be listed on the website with a brief lot of what we talked about today, but you'll be able to see all the stat information there for you. Looking through these stats, gents, I'm going to jump down a bit and then we can come back to them in a minute. But the one what got me quite a bit was we had 9 shots and only 1 on target. Reading had 4 shots, 2 on target, and scored 1.
Straight, isn't it?
And even the attacking actions, we had 38 attacking actions compared to compared to their 32. So. I don't know whereabouts. We'll come to you, Joe. I don't know whereabouts you want to start with first on these numbers, but looking at it, we were very, very, very similar on the stats.
I think it's just again, it's the nature of the game. Them going 1-0 up, defending for the duration of the game. To be fair, I can't remember 4 shots we've had, let alone 9 shots. So there must have been real kind of, wide play sort of shots or deflected shots or block shots maybe or something. I don't know if they all count at all. But unfortunately, that's the nature of how the game went. Had we gone 1-0 up, we probably done to them what Rotherham done to them a couple of weeks ago. Because they would have to come out and play. And obviously they'll leave gaps in behind. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So those stats will probably show a very even game, but I'm sure when you come across it a little bit later on, Mickey, I mean, there are other stats that show otherwise. I mean, possession-wise, we were, much, much higher in possession. I think we created more passes in their third, according to Comparisinator. A lot more than the average championship side would do.
Successful passes into the final third was we had the numbers are 127 and they had 62.
Yeah. And I think the average normally in the championship is about, is it 80, I think, or 90 on average?
It's between 8. Yeah, it's between 8 and 90.
Into the final third. So again, that shows, yes, we were hitting some long balls and hoping and going real direct, but those stats show that a lot of those long balls were hitting our attackers and our forwards. But unfortunately, we couldn't do much with it when we had it.
I mean, you look at the passing parameters. I mean, we'll run through them. So passes, Millwall, 485 passes. Reading, 345. Successful passes, 389. Reading, 270. Key passes, 1. 3 key passes to Reading. Successful key passes, none for Millwall. Reading had 3. Long passes, 44 compared to their 39. Successful long passes, 33 to their 22. Passes to final third, we said 182 to 99 to their 99. Successful passes, 127 to their 62. Crosses, 18 crosses to their 5. Successful crosses, 8, and they had 1 successful cross. So pretty much we, according to stats,
we dominated them, didn't we? Really,
we
yeah.
dominated it. Yeah.
But
Problem
again,
being, we don't score.
no, and that's partly to do with our forwards. Obviously, we're not exactly playing with a lot of confidence at the moment. Our strikers, they are getting chances, or not even real chances, probably half chances, if you like, and not doing much with them. But then credit to Reading, their defenders threw their bodies, didn't they? And were desperate not to let us score, and they battled and defended really well. So credit to them. I don't like sort of giving too much credit because I thought where their play was very, very negative. I mean, if I was a Reading fan, I wouldn't be too impressed watching them play like that every week. But credit to them, defended well. But yeah, we didn't really make use of the ball in their final third, although we did get the ball in there quite often, it seems, from the stats.
Yeah, Kai, do you want to go into the offensive stats and explain those a bit? So you make those.
Well, I think it's really interesting because, like, for example, attacking actions 38 to their 32, of which 16 were successful for us to their 11. I think the one that actually hits home even more is the expected goals. They expected 0.66 goals per the game, and we were expecting 0.74. So we were actually we had a more chance of scoring per well position.
How does that work though, Kai? When they had, obviously they scored that chance, which was a very good header from their debutant. Is it Nendi Sarr? I think he started.
Sarr.
I mean, what a player he was, by the way. I mean, he was a big unit, powerful, fast, good in the air. Something we can do with Millwall, to be fair. I mean, we talk about our defenders not having much pace. He looked quite good. But what's interesting, had 2 clear-cut chances after that. So doesn't the XG, shouldn't they kind of use that as a clear chance and therefore should be a higher XG?
I think that probably I think that's what I was going to move on to. I think that's probably what's even more impressive. The fact that they had them 2 clear-cut chances which they missed, and our XG is even higher. And that's with for them. Sorry, chances were clear cut, weren't they?
Just one sec before we carry on going forward where we are. Can you just explain what XG means to those who are listening who've got no idea what XG means, Kai?
So my understanding of XG is how many clear-cut chances you have, and how many of which you'd expect to score from. So just because you score a goal doesn't mean your expected goals should be 1. Because, for example, that might not have been a clear-cut chance. You might have hit from range, which wouldn't count as an expected goal. But all of it together is added up over the game to how many clear-cut chances you create or how many chances you create, and it all goes up until eventually it hits that. But I mean, remember last year against Blackburn, for example, we had no shots, did we? So our XG was none because we didn't have any chances. But
you know what's interesting, Carl? Sorry to interrupt you there. I looked at the XG of the Liverpool game the other night, the 9-0 win, and their XG was about 3 point something. So again, they scored 9 goals, but really only 3 of them that they say are clear-cut chances.
Yeah. So that shows you how clinical they are, I guess, because I mean, obviously Reading scored 1 goal, and their expected goals were 0.66. So as a stat, there, I've seen us before win 1-0, and our expected goals has been like 0.3. So it just shows that if you're clinical, you can still score more goals than your expected goals.
Basically.
Yeah. I've just got on there now. How is XG calculated? A number of factors are taken into account when calculating XG. They include type of assist, whether it was a shot taken with the head or foot, the angle and distance of the shot, and whether it is a big chance. The context of scoring opportunity is precisely what informs its XG rating. A rebound falling to a player in front of an open goal 6 yards out will have a high HG score, but a shot taken from 35 yards at a narrow angle will have a low XG score. If you see that the chance is described as having an XG rating of 0.35, that means a player would be expected to score from the chance 35% of the time, a 1 in 3 chance. If a chance is described as 0.5 XG, it should be scored 50% of the time, and so on. Combining a player's XG rating during the course of a season can give an approximate of how many goals they should have scored. So again, as we go through the season, we can look at this in a bit more depth and go from there. So yeah, go on, Kai, carry on, fella. Sorry, mate.
That's all right, mate. No, I was just going to say that. So for me, that shows that we did have chances. We did have chances to equalise. Obviously, we did. I mean, Bradshaw tested the keeper from a tight angle. For example, with XG like that, what Mickey just explained, that Bradshaw's early chance that we flicked on, didn't he? Joe Lumley saved. that will have a low XG because it was with his head and it was a tight angle.
Yeah.
So it's for him
and
to
it was
score.
coming at him quite fast, wasn't it? So he had to kind of move his head to it, and
So I mean, Naby Sarr's goal you'd expect that to be quite high because he was quite close. But just touching on Naby Sarr, Joe, I was going to say to you, he actually had a point to prove it then on Saturday because he might have actually been there last year with Huddersfield.
He was, That's time 3, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, but 2 to 3, I think it was 3 years ago now. It was his fault for Matt Smith's winner against Charlton.
Oh, really?
He was the one that Matt Smith out-jumped. So he used to play for Charlton. So that's what they were. We were saying that he had a point to prove on Saturday, and ultimately he scored the winner, didn't he? Which was frustrating. But no,
he kept a phobia quiet as well throughout the game, didn't he? I didn't see.
He's strong, isn't he? I think. And one thing you did see with them on Saturday was, we've always been known for our, physicality and our strength in the box. But when we went inside the box the other day, and this is no fault of Millwall's whatsoever, because you only put the players on the pitch you got. Do you know what I mean? But we didn't look that big at all. I think they probably,
especially across midfield. We look at Honeyman, Shackleton, McNamara. There's a moment I looked across the pitch. I thought, Jesus Christ, we look tiny compared to them. It's like we're under 14s kids team, weren't we?
Yeah, no, they had some big lads in their team, which obviously is going to mean it's harder to score from corners. And if they do, we probably, I guess, that the route. I assume that's why we try to play so many passes on the ground, because as soon as you put that ball in the air in the box, you're giving them a helping hand.
But weirdly, looking at those stats there, Kai, we seem to get the better of them aerially in that game, especially in our attacking. So I don't know how the hell that happened. I think that might have been with is it Volsammer? How we pronounce his name there, Kai? Is it Volsammer?
I believe it's Volsammer.
Is it silent?
Yeah, Volsammer.
What you told me earlier? Was it a silent G? You said.
I've listened to Germany commentators, and a few people have said to me that they believe it said Volsammer.
Volsammer.
Without the G. But obviously, I'm not. The only person that can tell us this is Foggy, isn't it? Ultimately,
is himself.
To tell us.
Yes, exactly. But again, I think he won a few headers when he came on. Afobe, I think he did win quite a few flick-ons.
Bradshaw won a few.
He won a few as well. So we did get the better of them in those headers. But like I said, the trouble is there was no one running onto those headers, were there? They weren't really going anywhere or doing much with them. So again, stat-wise, it might look really good that we were winning not those attacking headers. And defensively, we looked pretty okay, but nothing really materialised from that, unfortunately, did it?
No, we won a fair few headers, didn't we, in the attacking from corners. Hutch and Cooper won a fair few, but a lot of them went over the bar, didn't they? So
if you look at the dual numbers. The bottom end, like the aerial duels and the aerial duels one, they're very close. I think
it averages out there, because I think in the midfield we lost a lot of the aerial what do you call it, battles, if you like, because we've got small midfield players in there. But defensively and in attacking areas, we seem to sort of doing quite well either side. Nothing really in the middle. That's probably why it does balance out a little bit.
Is it what we've been saying? Obviously, it was quite interesting because we've obviously had these stats for a while. We've been talking about doing shows this season with it. And especially me and you, Joe, we've been looking at a few of our players like for like and stuff like that. We won between Billy Mitchell and Ryan Leonard, obviously.
And Shackleton, wasn't it?
And Shackleton.
Yeah.
But it was weird that when we saw the team line up for Saturday, we knew that Gary was going more defensive than attacking football because of the stuff what we'd looked at.
I think what you mean by that is more possession because again we could have predicted the score, couldn't we, Mickey? Because we looked at the stats before and we saw how both teams set up and how they would play against each other. And I said to you, I won't be surprised if this ends 0-0. This is going to be a boring game. The fact there was a goal in it was quite astonishing, really. But you're right. The way it was set up led me to believe that Rowett had to pick a team that was possession-based for us to keep the ball, to work the ball and try and create these chances rather than go direct and try and go long, because you can see what would happen when we did go direct. Nothing really happened. We kept throwing it into the mixer, but it kept coming back out again, didn't it?
The reason we did through Billy and stuff was because obviously a lot of people online seem to be digging Billy out, and we wanted to see what the stats said about it. And to be fair, Billy against Ryan Leonard and Shackleton, He's the better player.
And Sav as well. And I think what it showed us, which we're quite surprised about, and this is to the listeners listening to the show at the moment, is that everyone complains about Billy playing too many backward passes, sideward passes. But out of all the midfielders we selected, didn't we, Billy? Billy Mitchell was the one who played more forward passes than anyone else.
Yeah.
And actually got to the intended target as well. So it is astonishing, really. What you see sometimes in the game, you might look at all the bad things rather than the good things. But stat-wise, it showed that out of all our midfield players, Billy Mitchell was the one that was playing more forward passes into the attacking third than any other central midfield player. So again, cut the guy a bit of slack. he ain't as bad.
Well, we missed him. Did we miss him on Saturday? Do you think we missed him on Saturday?
I would say so. I think one thing I really like about Billy is that even when we're losing games, he's always I'd say he's probably one of the. He's probably the player that does the most of actually wanting the ball. He's always looking for the ball, Billy, and that shows confidence and belief in himself. Even if he's in a tight situation, I very rarely see Billy Mitchell lose the ball. I mean, his first touch is always good. He always knows where he wants to play it, and his pass always 9 times out of 10 comes off. So I think he's a really reliable player, Billy Mitchell. I really like him, and I think if he's deployed next to the right midfielder, he could be, he's really effective.
I think also having him there, Kai, it gives that a little bit more of a physical presence in that sort of central midfield position. Again, we touched on the likes of Shackleton being quite small, Honeyman being quite small. Having him there, he does seem to have a bit more of, again, like a physical sort of presence in the midfield, and sometimes that kind of helps us in winning the ball back or intercepting a pass. Again, he scored very, very high, didn't he, Mickey, in conversions, which meant that he's probably our best player actually winning the ball back from the opposition and turning the conversion and transition in our possession. Maybe we lacked someone like that in our team, on Saturday that was winning the ball from them.
Yeah, maybe Kai, between you and the guys doing the website now, maybe look at the midfielders and maybe do a comparison and show some of the stats on the midfield front, so that people can see that we're not just blowing smoke up Billy's arse. There are actually stats to back it up. But no, I mean, to me, it looked, with the stats, the game looked shit. But when you look at it from a stat point of view, we were geared to win the game. And you sort of, as much as I don't like Gary Rowett's type of football, I think it's boring. But you can understand if Millwall are playing by the stat book, which we think they probably are to a degree, you can understand why he's playing the way he is, what he needs now.
Why he's picking Mitchell as well.
Yeah, but if you look at these stats, what he's got the passing side of it, scoring big numbers. The defensive duels are scoring good numbers. We just need to get the other two sections to a degree to be doing well as well. The defensive ain't too bad either. But the thing what I'm missing, and I'll come to you on this now, both of you, with a question, is I think we are missing a creative midfielder or a creative, an attacking option, which we don't have. I'm not going to mention he who shouldn't be named. He scored twice at the weekend, but we are missing someone who has got that goal ability in front of goal to suddenly go, yep, that's going in. I'll have that. Boff, it's in. And we've not replaced him. Hopefully, I know that Fleming and I know that Vlogger will need to, get used to this league. But then I think, Vlog, I think it's going to be a dangerous thing. But I don't know. What's your views? And then I'll come to you with another question in a minute as well regarding. So the two questions I've got for you is, are we missing a creative midfielder or a different attacking option? And the second question to you would be, obviously, to come back on, is the formation what Gary wants to play? Are the players unable to play that formation?
You go to first.
I'll go Kai first.
So to the first question, I'd say I think Fleming will be absolutely fine in that creative midfield role once he gets fit and stuff. I mean, I'm the same as any fan. I wouldn't turn down an opportunity to sign another attacking player. I don't think anyone would they? Like, even if you've got, if you're a Liverpool fan, you've got Salah, Firmino, Diaz, you've got all these attacking options. You'd never turn down an opportunity to sign another one because it's just more and more options, isn't it? But no, I would love to see another attacker come in. But I think in the creative midfield where I think Fleming can easily do that role. And then I think even if you wanted to switch it around when Bennett's back as well, I think Bennett's more than capable of doing that role too. And as for the system, I think that team is more than capable of playing that formation. I just think we need to get. I'd like to see us, instead of going we go wide to our wing backs, which works really well, but then maybe instead of trying to just get them straight down the line, maybe come back inside to the midfield and I'd like to see us try to play balls through, cut the lines. And so when there's midfield duo of, for example, Reading the other day, I'd like to see players like Benny Kofobi, Tom Bradshaw come in, so I guess in between them lines, so we can play balls through, take players out of the game, and then move wide with our wing backs. If we can do that, then we're going to create overloads down the wings, which we're more than capable of doing with the quality we've got. I think I'd like to see us maybe play them more incisive balls at times, and I think Fleming will bring that. So it's sort of, in a way, it sort of answers, I guess, both questions at once. But Fleming, I think, will bring that.
Do you agree with Kai that once Fleming is fit enough, and obviously once Bennett is back, that both of those guys can fill this creative midfield position what we need?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Fleming, from what I've seen of him, is a quality player. I mean, you saw it on Saturday when he came on and Volslammer come on as well. Suddenly, there's a bit more quality there. Their passes were going to the intended target. Their touch was spot on. The movement was good. Their positioning, the picking up was good. They start to learn the English game, and they start to battle a bit more. I noticed that in Fleming the last couple of games. Volslammer has always been a bit of a battler, so I think he'll do all right in this league. To be honest with you, I don't think that's a problem. Our problem, I think, at the moment is with the system that we play, which probably answers your question, Mickey, as well, is that our wing backs are not good enough to play this system.
Yeah, this is what
whether you call it form, out of form, whether it's just ability or not quick enough. But you look at McNamara, I think he had a good season last season, but when I've seen him this season, he looks a bit short on pace. He'll try and go around a fullback, but he's not quite got the pace or the skill, whatever you want to call it, to get around it, to get the crosses in often. Malone, we've seen himself this season. He hasn't been that great or that effective on the other flank. And when you play this system, you need your wing backs to be fast, strong, direct, get forwards to give you that attacking threat. And we're not getting that. If you're getting those wing backs getting forward, suddenly you're creating more chances in that attacking third and probably freeing up the likes of Fleming, the likes of Honeyman and the forwards to get on the ball a bit more. But at the moment, they're almost non-existent, these wing backs. Either that or Rowett's got them thinking too defensively rather than going more attack-minded. So, yeah, I think Fleming will come good. I don't think we need to sign any more attacking players. I think we need to sign a good wing back. We might need to get a couple of wing backs, a left wing back and a right wing back. Although, yeah, we all like McNamara and we hope he develops and does well. He's still very, very young. But what's worrying for me is that left side. We do need someone who's going to really give us an attacking threat on that left side, and hope McNamara comes good on the right side. With Leonard being injured now, we've got no one else who could play out there. Kai, could Shackleton play out there maybe? I mean, he's got a bit more pace than McNamara. Could he give us more of an attacking threat on that side? What do you think?
Jamie Shackleton definitely play at right wing back. He did for Leeds in the Premiership, I think that's 15 times last year, I think, when he was Blue Hailing. He's good and he's quick as well. I think he'll compete really well. For me, I'd like to see Danny give him I mean, it's not been a great start for us, as a season for us so far with obviously 3 defeats. But I think the more you chop and change with the team, I think that's when we're probably going to struggle even more. I think we need to try and gel this team together now. And I think the way to do that is by keep giving players the shirt. And obviously, it won't allow them to slack and then be guaranteed to have the shirt for the next game, because that won't work either. But someone like Danny needs confidence and to develop. And I think to do that, he needs to play a lot of games, to play games for us every week in, week out, keep getting that, confidence under his belt. And I think the more and more he does that, the better and better he'll become.
Well, he started the last sort of 3 or 4 games now, isn't he? At right wing back. I mean, how much more time do you give him? Do you give him like another couple of games and then maybe put Shackleton out there? I mean, Malone is not quite doing it on the left side. I mean, if you saw my tweet earlier today, I suggested playing Murray Wallace out there. I think, everyone keeps saying, okay, he's not quite as good going forward as Malone is. He's not really attacking. But, even on Saturday, when we went to a back 4, he was getting forward. He was still more of an attacking threat, I think, than Malone was all game, playing as a wing back. So I can't see why he can't play there. He seems more comfortable on the ball. And what really annoys me, and I'm starting to sort of like be a bit of a moan. I'm sorry if it comes across really, really sort of negatively here, but I love Malone. I think he's a great player. He was a great player for us, but he's 6'3". I mean, he's a tall lad, and I never ever see him win a header. He's almost like too scared to go for headers. He doesn't win any headers. So any long balls go over. He's not going for the headers or winning the headers.
Who's that?
Malone. If he receives the ball, the first thing he's looking to do is play the ball back. He never tries to take on their fullback like what he used to at one time. Excuse me, but he did. I watched it very closely on Saturday. I thought, is it me or am I being a little bit too negative, or being on his case a bit too much? But every time he got the ball, he never looked to take on their fullback. All he got to do is get the ball and then pass it back to Murray Wallace or try and play inside to Shackleton. He wasn't looking to go. Even if you're going to play into Shackleton, make that run to get the ball back again. But he was just quite happy to get the ball, play it back, get the ball sideways.
I mean, you talking about Danny. Danny is number 1 at the moment for ball recovery and also number 3 for interception.
Yeah.
But that's defensively, isn't it? So defensively, he's doing a sound job for us. But attack-wise, he's just not doing enough.
No, that's attacking actions is nowhere near.
And also, Mickey, I was getting bored. We're talking about stats quite a lot here, but it's just very, very interesting when you look at these stats. But okay, forget about Reading on Saturday, because those stats could be a little bit deceiving because it shows Mill being very attacking and we're creating lots of passes through the lines into the attacking third, and we're looking really great going forward. Yeah. But on average, throughout the season, at the moment, Millwall's defence stats from memory, Mickey, we're average with the Championship, probably slightly above average.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean to say that we're as good as the teams above us or as bad as teams below us, but we're kind of average. But when you look at our attacking stats throughout this season, we are quite low on the average, which means that we are, in comparison with the teams that are struggling at the moment down the bottom. And that gives us an idea of how our season's going at the moment. Yes, we're defending slightly above average, which is good. But attack-wise, we are very, very, very low at the moment. And again, ignore Reading's game, because Reading might give us a bit more, might make us look better than what we actually are, because we've created so many forward passes and try to get forward as much as we could. But across the season, we're not doing enough going forward. And again, you can't blame our forwards. You can't blame our strikers. If they're not getting the chances and not getting the ball in those areas, then what are they going to do with it? So again, go back to my original point, we need to start getting our wing backs more involved and create more attacking options for us to make things happen more in the final third.
I think this debate's going to go on and on and on and on, but Kai does the stuff on the website, so I'm sure over the next week or two, Kai will start delving deeper into these stats with certain players and giving you a bit more of an insight into the midfields, the attacks. Let you see the numbers. Listen, I don't know if you're into stats or you're not. This show might well go above your head, but there will be a separate show going forward soon with Kai and Omar, where they will dig in to these numbers, probably a lot more detail than what we have. So if you are into stats, that is going to be coming soon. Again, with our stat partner, which is obviously the comparisinator. But hey, I think we've probably chewed over Reading deep enough. and probably we've made lots of people go to sleep now or want to kick hell out of the radio. So, look, we're going to pause it here. We're going to be back for part 2 because we've got Burnley away this week. And on current form, that could be a terrifying moment. So, look, hold tight. We'll be back for part 2 where it's Burnley away. We'll be back after this.